you doing in my swamp?
I'm just here to record a podcast.
It's here. She's here, and we're covering it for our fucking Swampiversary. And I'm gonna pop this champagne, or Henry's gonna pop it because I'm too scared.
All right, hold on.
Do it not into the microphone, but
I'll do it close. Here we go. That was.
That's so anticlimactic. It was like a. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was so lame. But I did pop champagne because this is our official 1-year episode, and so we're covering Shrek because our podcast is called The Swamp, and it's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting, and let me tell you, Shrek feels like it's been like the thing that's been on your list for just decades and decades, even though it's only been a year.
For an entire lifetime. Lifetime's worth of podcasting. You know the number of times some people have said, like, you've never covered Shrek, and your show is called The Swamp?
They're, like, offended.
And then it, like, felt like it had to be, like, a big event, so we saved her for today, here on this momentous occasion. Shrek, the 2001 cultural masterpiece that defined a generation.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me about your relationship to this movie? Because I feel like everyone has a relationship to Shrek.
I mean, I think mine is very
standard.
Much the standard sort of person our age. Obviously, so this movie came out in 2001, and I totally owned it on VHS, and I definitely feel like I saw the second one in movie theaters. And maybe the third, if the third one wasn't direct to DVD, it definitely would. I was just like in the appropriate age group, basically, growing up. And then there was kind of that like cultural renaissance with Shrek. I feel like when we were in high school, where it like, I don't really know the origins, but like you can probably find some like deep Reddit information regarding just like how Shrek like kind of rebubbled to the surface of culture. Because I think
it was
everybody
meme culture. I feel like it was very much meme culture.
Yes, it was like I think everyone recognized that Shrek was a great kids movie. That it was, you know, kind of subverting the culture of the time and was certainly something special and to be remembered by people of our age. But then all of a sudden, I really feel like it was like, 14 or 15, the Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life video, as well as just like, literally just it became like the forefront of meme culture. And I think it's fizzled out a little bit since then, because it was like intensely like Shrek. But still, there are still so many Shrek memes.
It's been cemented so deeply into, I don't even want to say pop culture. I feel like it's just generally there, but I guess pop culture. You know what I mean? That it'll never actually die, I guess, especially in meme culture. She's always going to pop back up.
And it's just wild. But this movie, it's been a minute since I've seen it.
Same.
Like, a minute meaning like maybe 2 or 3 years. But I definitely do revisit Shrek quite frequently, and like again through like cultural just like references. I feel like you see it so frequently. But do you have any sort of particular relationship with Shrek? I definitely like owned the DVDs, watched them a lot as a kid, and then was like actively participating in Shrek meme culture when it kind of happened.
I think mine is very similar to yours experience, but I just want to say like it's not even this movie that's ingrained in my brain. Definitely the second one, but the thing that just sticks out so much from my experience with Shrek was there was this it was this little like 3D special kind of thing, and I think it was actually like what they put out. It was like what the Shrek ride at Universal was, but they still like put it out on DVD, and it was like 3D glasses kind of thing, and just like it was like maybe a 15-minute thing that I remember watching, and it was like Lord Farquaad's ghost, and like the guy that like his little like murderer guy, Thelonious. Yeah. It was like a whole thing. Let me try and find the name of it.
Interesting, because I feel that way about the credits, the DVD specials on the second DVD where it was the American Idol spinoff, the Shrek American Idol. I remember fast forwarding through, like I remember just putting in the DVD to watch the American Idol Shrek like DVD specials. Yeah,
no, it was Shrek 4D, which I and it was the ride at Universal, but you can watch it on YouTube for $3. But it's, the Ghost of Lord Farquaad, and that I remember being, like, very small. I'd put on my little 3D glasses, because we had the 3D glasses at my house, because it came with them, and that's just cemented very deeply into my brain. Like the most, like, niche little corner of Shrek, and that's where I sit.
Yeah, I've never heard of her. I do not know her. But
it was
I'm not
janky.
going to be paying
No, it was fucking janky. Let me tell you. But anyway,
I will say, so our my brother-in-law Sam made our intro music for us. All those times ago, and he put in "What Are You Doing in My Swamp" soundbite from Shrek, but then he took it out because he was like, "Oh, you're gonna get copyright flagged for that." He's like they're gonna take all your shit down. He was like, it's funny, but just like not worth it. Yeah. But so there originally was Shrek content that was going to be out at the beginning of every episode, but Sam was smart to, because I would have been just like, let's run it, and then all of our shit would have got taken down.
We wouldn't have lasted a week.
Before we get too much into Shrek, I want to get emotional here on the pod, as I do like every 3 or 4 episodes where I'm like, oh my god, I usually save it for the end, but I want to, at the top of this episode, thank every person who's ever listened to this for more than a single minute. Because, like, what the hell? Why are you listening to me? Every person who follows us on every social media and sends us a DM, and I literally, like, have to go excuse myself at work and, like, have a moment in the bathroom and, like, splash cold water on my face when somebody's like, nice post, or like literally just the most mundane compliments really get to me. But also, so many of you have sent us the most thoughtful messages,
so sweet.
and every movie recommendation as well. Like, that all is just, I really don't think we would have kept up with this the way we did if it hadn't been for, like, the really nice amount of support we've gotten from all of you, because I fully did not expect, I'm like, I'm gonna, like, bully my friends into listening to this and being guests, and also shout out to all of our guests that we've had that are mostly just people in our lives who we've bullied to come on the show. But as we move forward, we're, like, expanding and networking and getting with other podcasters, like you guys saw last week with 3 Tickets 2, and coming up this next month, we've even got more, like, fun stuff in store. So I just wanted to, at the top of the pod, say happy 1-year Swampiversary, and thank you, Emily, for putting up with me.
Thank you, Dara. Oh my goodness,
I'm insufferable.
I would never think that. I also want to give a quick shout out to Miss Jen, your mom.
Jen, because
we honestly, she is stuck through this entire year, and she's just an absolute champion for the pod. And she genuinely does so much, and I'm like, and she loves it too. She like, it's every week, and she's like, I've got my theme planned out. Jen loves homework, like she like makes homework for herself as an adult. But yeah, shouts out to Jen, and she knows how much we appreciate her because we tell her all the time. Thanks for sticking.
And also,
I was gonna say, thanks for sticking with me, Dara.
Oh my god, we're both so horrible. That's why it works podcast together. Recently, so that TikTok trend has been going around where it's like the male filter with the nose ring, like the facial hair, basically. And it's like, if you don't think you're hot as a guy, you need to lower your standards or whatever. But everybody's just like putting it on themselves and being like, ooh, I might act up and start a podcast. Like, ooh, I'm a man now, I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm like, oh god, is this me?
No, that's one of my favorite things that I've heard over the last year, is people saying that it's refreshing to listen to our stuff.
Ladies. Yeah. Because, I'm not funny or smart, but I am a woman.
Mm-hmm. And that's all I need. We've already got a leg up on the rest of them.
But yeah, before we dive into Shrek, I just wanted to I wanted to give everyone an audio hug.
I want to give them all little kisses on both cheeks.
Wish my champagne pop was more, like, momentous to really signify this occasion. So let's get into Shrek. So if you haven't seen Shrek, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Who are you? What I do not, straight up, right now, if you're listening to this and you've never seen Shrek, please slide into our DMs and just tell me, like, what your life is. or Amish, or watch Shrek for the first time. Imagine as an adult getting to watch Shrek for the first time ever. It must not have that magic, but maybe.
I don't know, because it's one of those, it holds up so well. Like, all the adult jokes land, like, just immaculately. You know what I mean?
It's the perfect film. It's the perfect film. And just everything about, like, the way that DreamWorks was using this movie as, like, a big fuck you to Disney, basically. Mm-hmm. And this was, like, during the time of development of, like, what we kind of attribute to be, like, Pixar's animation style. Mm-hmm. And DreamWorks was, like, also working on developing. This movie took 4 years to animate. It's not crazy.
Jesus.
But, like, it was 2001. Yeah,
well,
so, like,
that's the other thing, is it still looks good. You know what I mean?
Right. I rented it in, like, HD or something, so I was like, oh, I think this looks really good, but it's probably been like remastered over the years. But I kind of like that, like, it looks like unrendered a little bit, and everything looks like a McDonald's toy, or like everything looks like a Polly Pocket. Like, the textures are so pleasing. Then the one scene specifically that it really just, like, gets to me is, well, the texture of the mud. When he's, like, showering in the mud, that really is, like, something, it tickles my brain. But when he's, like, fighting all the knights and he gets the cork out of the big thing of beer and all the beer, it looks, like, thick and viscous. And I'm like, oh, and, like, slimy. And I was like, oh, I want to touch it so bad. Everything in this movie, I want a stim toy of it. Yeah,
something for me that was very visually pleasing was the entire scene that takes place in the castle.
Duloc?
No, not in Duloc.
Oh,
no,
the castle.
When he's just, like, gone and gotten Fiona and everything, and they're fighting the dragon and all that stuff. I don't know if it's just the fact that, like, movies nowadays, when it's set in, like, a dark space, you can't see shit.
Yeah, but I get everything. Brightly lit.
I get everything, and I get a horny dragon.
Right, no, but it's just, like, every plot point of this movie was them being like, what can we take what Disney has done and then do the opposite thing and also make it, like, an insult and a dig and make it fun for kids but funny for adults. And this movie is genius. This is a genius film. Mm-hmm. And I don't know anyone nobody thinks Shrek is overrated. Everyone knows that the hype that Shrek has gotten over the time is well-deserved, because it really, I was thinking about this. I was like, any Pixar film, like, there are some great Pixar, like, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I love me some Monsters Inc., like, Finding Nemo, whatever. But I'm like, put Shrek next to any Pixar film, and it wins. Yeah. It simply wins.
Yeah, you could bracket anything, and Shrek's gonna be in that center spot.
Right? But so our theme for this month is soundtracks.
Yeah, killer soundtracks.
Yeah, baller, killer, dope fucking soundtracks, which we kind of curated the theme to fit this movie because we knew we were gonna do Shrek. But we have a pretty sick lineup for this month, I gotta say.
I'm super excited.
So this is kind of a good catalyst, but also the Shrek soundtrack fully has been downloaded onto whatever listening device I have owned for the past of my whole life since this, like, I had the CD. I for sure had the CD, and I, like, probably, like, left it out in the rain, and it, like, still worked. I remember I had a little book of CDs, and I, like, my, like, Bratz Rock Angels CD player, and I left it all out on the deck because I'd been, like, listening to my CDs on the deck, and I left them all out on the deck, and it rained, and everything got, like, ruined. But some of the CDs still worked, but they were, like, kind of water damaged. So I can, like, picture my Shrek soundtrack with, like, the water damaged image, but it, like, still kind of worked. I don't know. Again, like, vivid Shrek memories.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song from this movie? Because I do.
It's, like, so hard. I have to say that the score also slaps so hard. Overture, opening, theme, like, music with, like, the recurring. I think the score is, like, a whole other can of worms, but I feel like it has to be the opening Smash Mouth song because it's so iconic. No, you're saying no.
It's just not for me. You're right. It is iconic. I think that's one of the only memes that kind of lost its charm.
Are you gonna say, I don't give a damn about my bad reputation?
No.
That one, that's another really good one.
That is a good one. The one that, and it's not even played for maybe more than 30 seconds or something like that. But when they have, when they're on their journey and it plays "I'm on my way,"
Yeah,
no, it's just something about it fucking perfect, and I love it. And it was probably like maybe like a 10-second spot or something like that.
Because this movie dedicates a lot of time to musical numbers.
And we're gonna talk about Edgar Wright next week, but it very much gave me sort of the same way that he builds his movies around music. I was like, this is my Baby Driver.
And also I love that, like, this movie took the song Hallelujah and rebranded it as the Shrek song. Like, there's not a person alive today who doesn't immediately think
Shrek.
of the movie Shrek when they hear it. It's just, oh, it's too good. Oh, yeah, that beautiful ballad, Hallelujah, from the emotional turning into the third act of Shrek. Yes.
But speaking of the third act, and I guess just the acts in general, do we want to, give whoever just lives under a rock a brief recap of Shrek?
Yeah, I guess, like, Shrek, again, like, even if you haven't watched this movie in years and years, you still know it in your heart, and through, like, memes, but Shrek is an ogre voiced by Mike Myers, and he lives in his swamp by himself, and he's really content with his life, but then all of the fairy tale creatures get kind of displaced off of their land and onto his swamp by Lord Farquaad, who wants to kind of gentrify. He doesn't think fairy tale creatures belong in the city, so he's like, you can go live out in the woods, basically. So he, like, displaces them onto Shrek's swamp, and Shrek is like, I'm fucking pissed. And they're all like, well, go take it up with Lord Farquaad. And so then he and Donkey, voiced by Eddie Murphy, kind of join forces, and they go together to Duloc to talk to Lord Farquaad, and he's like, well, you have to, like, fight all these guys, and so then Shrek fights everyone because he's an ogre, and he wins, and then he's like, okay, well, you have to go rescue my bride-to-be from the castle, and Shrek's like, and then I'll let, I'll give you your house back or whatever, and Shrek's like, fine, so kind of Farquaad kind of loopholes Shrek into doing this kind of task for him, and so he goes and he saves Fiona, who's been waiting for her prince in a tower, but really it's Shrek who's just being kind of a delivery boy. So she's, like, not happy about it, and she's voiced by Cameron Diaz, and then through their little journey back to Duloc, she realizes that her and Shrek have a lot more in common, and then boy, oh boy, what do we realize? Oh my god, by day, a princess, by night, an ogre. Who would I thought?
Convenient.
Statistically, so improbable. So at night, Fiona becomes an ogre, and she's, like, gonna tell Shrek, but then she's like, no, he could never love a hideous beast, and Shrek overhears her saying that she could never, there's a whole misunderstanding, miscommunication. Shrek is pissed about it. Fiona goes to marry Lord Farquaad, because she's like, as soon as we kiss, I'll be a human forever, and I'm not gonna have to worry about this ogre shit anymore. And then at the 11th hour, Donkey clears up the miscommunication. They get the dragon from the castle, who's so horny, and they crash the wedding. She kisses Shrek, and then she turns into an ogre permanently, because love's true form was who she really was, which was an ogre. And that's the end of the movie, and it's a beautiful story.
The most prolific love story
ever told.
Yeah.
And it's like a tight 90 bookended by two Smash Mouth songs. Like, it's
what
the
else
perfect
could you
film.
want, really?
And even in the way that the plot does a lot of, like, predictable beats of, like, I fucking hate the, like, oh, there's a miscommunication, and now the whole, like, plot line is gonna get disrupted because of this. I fucking hate that shit in any piece of media. I'm like, I hate, it's so cheap, poorly written, and I don't give a fuck that they do it in Shrek. I love it. I'm like, this is great. This is the greatest movie ever written. Free pass.
Yeah, it's the same way of us being like, we fucking hate, like, the 2-day romance. No.
Right? I don't give a fuck. It is true love. It is true love.
One thing I want to talk about is the horny dragon in the room.
The horny dragon.
I love her.
She's an icon, and she's the moment.
I want to know if she has a name.
The star of this film. Well, this was what I was thinking. This watch around, I was like, it's kind of weird that she doesn't talk,
right?
But, like, I guess it makes sense. But I'm like, her and Donkey are gonna have this, like, this life together, and she does not speak.
She has a name.
What's her name?
Elizabeth.
What's her name? Elizabeth. Lizzie. Eliza.
Um,
Also, like she has like eyelash extensions with like a beautiful shimmery
a
shadow.
deep
Like
red
drop the
lip.
makeup routine,
Yeah.
girl. Stunning.
beats her face for no one every day until the day that Donkey shows up.
Right, and then she's so horny, and then he's like not into it, and he's like kind
I'll give
of
it to
like
him.
being standoffish.
Well, he is preaching consent, which is good of him. Not good, and not good that he has to preach his consent, but
But also, we know canonically that they fuck because there are some hybrid babies that come along in future Shrek. So Donkey dicks this dragon down, and how? Scientifically, explain to me. I don't want to think
I don't
about
either.
It, it's beautiful, and they're a beautiful family.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that felt like a burden to carry through, like, my young life. Because, like, I was talking about this with my roommate. I was like, even then.
Even as a kid, you know you don't know what sex is really, but you're like, there's something fucked up. This is not what nature did not intend for this to happen. CGI on my movie screen.
And I just think that's a testament to the DreamWorks creators, honestly. Because there are so many spots in this movie that I was sitting there and I was like, what was the writer's room like? That this got through, right. And this is what I'm seeing on my screen. And what were the alternatives also?
Yeah. So I know that I was looking onto the IMDb, obviously, and the three main guys who wrote this, two of them were the screenwriters of Aladdin. So they had, like, obviously previously worked at Disney, and they wrote Aladdin, and then they wrote this. But I will say, a little context, a little fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, that Shrek is a picture book written in 1990,
really?
I believe, by William Steig. He doesn't really have a ton of other kids' books, but it's a picture book. It's been at every library I've worked at in my life, and it's really interesting. If you give it a little flip through, it is pretty much the movie Shrek. It's essentially just that he and Donkey team up so that he can rescue Fiona, who, when he gets there to rescue her, she's an ogre too. So that's kind of like the base kind of story about it. But I think Lord Farquaad is it. Like, I think it's pretty similar, but it's just like a kid's picture book. But so that was the source material. I think it was written in 1990, I think, but I know that Steven Spielberg gained the rights to Shrek, like the book, to turn it into a film in 1991, and he wanted Bill Murray to be Shrek. And then he just never did anything with it, and then his, like, sort of lease with it ran up or whatever, and they were like, okay, well, like, you've owned the rights to this, you didn't do anything with it, so, like, we're gonna move on. And then that's when DreamWorks grabbed it, and so that's my, like, Shrek fun fact.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard that Chris Farley was the person that was originally supposed to voice Shrek.
And then he died. Rest in peace. Yes, he, like, did the original read for it. Also, I know that Mike Myers did I think it was a Canadian accent at first. Like, he cost DreamWorks like millions and millions of dollars to re-record the dialogue for Shrek over as the Scottish accent, because they, like, were doing some test runs, and he's like, this is not right. He's like, this is just like it's fine, but it's not right. And then he redid it as the iconic Scottish accent that we know, and, like, obviously panned out.
Yeah, I wonder how he landed on that too. Like, it was definitely the right one. I think he used that voice.
I think he uses that voice in some Austin Powers movie, and so he was just like, well, I'll just do it in, like, this funny accent that I know. But yeah, I know originally Shrek is not Scottish.
Yeah, no, that does not shock me about Mike Myers, though, to, like, cost them money, because I don't know if it was you that told me that Mike Myers is, like, an asshole to work with or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that adds up.
That he cost the studio for Cat in the Hat, like, millions of dollars in, like, you know, time. And I think they tried to sue him about it. They were like, you were such a diva on set that, like, literally, like, wasted our time and money. This is interesting. Yeah, this is the second Mike Myers movie we've covered in, like, a pretty short span of time. Obviously, brilliant performance, because they're just, like, so many quotable lines. And I think that's why this movie is so memeable too, is I think if you look at a lot of other, like, kids movies from that time, they were doing either the adult humor was, like, the highs were too high and the lows were too low, kind of. I think where this was, like, hitting that sweet spot over and over, which is the kind of humor that I think our aged people, or, you know, during the Shrek Renaissance, I guess, those, like, I'm making waffles. Like, what the fuck? That's funny no matter who you are, and it's so memeable, and ogres are like onions. It's just like, it's smart enough for the adults, but it's silly enough for the kids, and it doesn't have to have those like, you know, sexual innuendos. There are a few here and there. Shrek does it. Every kid's movie does it, but it doesn't feel as cheap to me.
No, you're totally right about that. This is definitely I'd say definitely the most quotable movie that we've done so far. It's just one of those things, like, you probably can't go maybe, like, 2 minutes, like, 2 to 5 minutes without, like, finding, like, something that's, like, super quotable or that you have quoted in your lifetime.
Right, or, like, something that's, like, on the first page of, like, the GIFs. When you, like, open the GIF keyboard on your phone, like, there's gonna be something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think, I think this movie informed our generation's humor a lot, because it's kind of, like, irreverent and sarcastic, but, like, not particularly smart, I guess.
Oh, God, no. It's beautifully stupid.
But also, this movie is anti-landlord rhetoric, and I think that that's why everyone our age are socialists and communists. It's because of Shrek.
Like, you're not wrong. Speaking of the land, though, and Shrek's property, I won't lie, that swamp is cute.
Yeah.
Donkey's
right?
like,
and especially,
Donkey's like, ew, who would want to live there? And I'm like, bitch, me!
it's nice. It's nice, especially in that first scene where he gets Donkey and then he goes back to the swamp and he, like, makes himself a little meal.
Right?
And he's, like, got his martini, a fire going.
I love it.
He's, like, in his armchair.
He's, like, on a sandy beach,
yes.
almost. You know what I mean?
He invented cottagecore. Shrek is the blueprint for the cottagecore TikTok
I'd
trend.
have a killer garden if I was in that swamp. I'd have wind chimes all over the place. It'd be gorgeous.
Just, like, hanging out. Yeah, that opening scene where he just, like, takes a nice bath, just starts his day. And all he has to do is just scare people off his property. That's
I'm
easy.
pretty jealous.
Done.
Honestly.
No job, no responsibility.
This is what I want.
All right. As always, we are here with my lovely mother Jen for Chocolate or Vanilla, our interim segment where she hosts a game. She asks us 2 questions, and I always say you ask us 2 questions, but it's only 1 question. It's a single question where there are 2 answers, and you just say the thing that you like better, and that's the question. And the titular chocolate or vanilla is the thing that you say, and then is there a theme this week?
There is a theme this week. Things that are green.
Gorgeous.
Oh, for Shrek.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Yeah, and first I want to say congrats on 1 year.
So Jen just took 2 wine glasses and manually clinked them. It's like cheers through Zoom, but like you have to do it yourself for the sound effects.
We do our own sound effects here on the swamp.
We should get one of those like panels with like buttons, you know, like how they had on iCarly, or like I feel like other podcasts have that too. Maybe that should be our resolution for this upcoming year is get a sound bar. But thank you for that lovely toast and for the green theme. This is gonna be great. All
right, here we go. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
I'm gonna say strawberry this week.
Spicy.
Ooh, you know what? Me too. I'm gonna say strawberry. All right. So, Buttercup, the green Powerpuff Girl, or the green M&M girl?
Do you know about all the controversy, Jen? They just changed.
Like recent?
Yes, they just changed the green M&M's shoes. She used to wear go-go boots, and they just
I love the white boots.
They gave her just like sneakers, and they're like, she's too sexy. Yeah. They're like, we can't sexualize an M&M, and so they gave her a fucking sneakers. Bring back her slutty go-go boots. She was an icon.
What?
I think it's getting so much backlash, they're gonna have to change it back.
Yeah.
Like, people are pissed.
I don't think they will.
They better.
But I think we can and should sexualize the M&Ms.
I love her little eyelashes and the white boots.
She was
Yeah,
an icon.
That's why I put her on here.
But I'm gonna go... Yeah, I'll go with the OG green M&M. I gotta support my girl, even though the green Powerpuff Girl is pretty good. But as far as boots, the green M&M.
Yeah, I don't love that they, like, de-yassified her. But... definitely the green M&M.
Yeah, me too. Keep the boots. Nickelodeon slime or a McDonald's McShamrock shake?
Oh, so actually, Interestingly, my cat, Winston, my cats have full names, because just, every cat needs, like, first, middle, last, and so he's the Brigadier General Winston O'Grimacy, and his last name is O'Grimacy, and from the original McDonald's characters, like, from the 90s, so there's, like, obviously Ronald McDonald, and there's, like, the Hamburglar, and then there's Grimace, but Grimace has an uncle who's O'Grimacy, and he represents the Shamrock Shake, and if you just look up, like, O'Grimacy, one night Henry and I were drunk and we were trying to see how many of the original McDonald's characters we could name. And then we, like, went, like, deep into, like, Wikipedia and found a list of all of them. And we're like, who the fuck is O'Grimacy? And so then we tagged that onto our cat's last name. So I have to pick, what was my option?
Shake.
Shamrock Shake. Oh, but I hate
gonna
mint,
say,
but it's related to my cat, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're staunch mint hater.
I hate mint is for toothpaste and gum, and that's it. Controversial, I know.
That is true. What was the option besides the Shamrock Shake?
Nickelodeon slime.
Yeah, no. The Shamrock Shake is ever present in my life. Next month I'll be all over that shit. So I'm definitely gonna go Shamrock Shake.
So, me too. I'll go Shamrock Shake. Do you get into the McRib when it comes out?
I just had it for the first time, like, I don't know, whenever, like, I think it came around recently, but, like, the time before that, maybe. It was, like, alright. I don't know. So I guess not. I don't.
Don't tell me you're a star sign. Tell me what seasonal McDonald's item you simp for.
Ryan used to love those when he was little. The McRib. All right. The author, John Green, or the actor, Seth Green?
I'll have to go with Seth Green, because he was in Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, and John Green could literally never. John Green made those two kids with cancer have their first kiss in the Anne Frank house, and I think that was fucked up. Tell me I'm wrong for that.
No, you're not. I feel like I've heard enough sus shit about Seth Green.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could be totally wrong, but I feel like I don't know. For that reason, and for the reason that John Green that man did get me reading. I'll give it to him. So I guess I'll go with John Green, even though you're right, it's fucked up that they did kiss in the Anne Frank house. Unforgivable.
I'll go with John Green, too. I can't believe, Dara, you didn't pick John Green. You were a big John Green fan back in the day.
And I can retrospectively look back and recognize that none of those books were particularly good. You know who's actually also a good writer? His brother. His brother does a lot of science, like TikTok content and stuff, and like is an actual scientist or whatever, but he has 2 science fiction books out that are both great. So Hank Green is my choice.
I like Hank because he like educates me on TikTok when I've been rotting my brain for like 30 minutes like straight, and then he'll pop up and I'll be like, oh, okay, I learned something, and then I'll continue to scroll for another 30 minutes.
Okay, next one, broccoli or Brussels sprouts?
Ooh, I've recently been rocking the Brussels sprouts, like roast in the oven with some fucking bacon. That shit rocks. It's like I'm pretending to be healthy, but it is mostly just bacon. But fundamentally, I am a broccoli girl.
I absolutely love Brussels sprouts. I've been on like a huge, like, Dara, said you've been on a kick recently. I've been on a kick for like the last like year. Love them. So definitely Brussels sprouts. I wish I was a broccoli girl. Like, it's fine. Like, I know, like, that's, like, everyone's favorite vegetable, and I wish I could say that was mine, but...
I would say, yeah, I like them both, but I'm gonna go broccoli. Okay, next one's the 3. Yoshi, Luigi, or Link?
I like Yoshi, because Yoshi lays eggs, but I think we, like, kind of perceive Yoshi to be a boy, but he does lay eggs. And pretty recently I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I don't know. I think Yoshi just exists above the plane of gender. And also, I think if I were to pick between those 3 of who I would pick, like, play in Smash, I'm probably picking Yoshi, so.
No, Yoshi I just think is, a lot more charismatic, if you ask me. Yeah, Yoshi's just a fun little guy, so definitely Yoshi.
Yahoo! Bloop, bloop, and he, like, sticks his tongue out.
I'm gonna pick, Link for my nephew Neil was a huge Link fan when he was a little kid. So I'm gonna pick Link. Pesto or guacamole?
Oh.
Oh, that's so hard. I love pesto. I love pesto. Like, I love a good guac, too. But guac can go, like, wrong, right? If your avocados aren't ripe, if you, like, overseason, underseason, whatever, guac can go wrong. Pesto is consistent. Pesto is there for me.
This is really hard. Here's the thing, is that I think on any given day, I could be swayed either or.
I wish the viewers could see your face because you look conflicted
upset
right now.
You look upset about this question right now.
I am. I'm incredibly conflicted. I think you caught me on a day that guac just seems a little more appealing. So I'm gonna say guac, but pesto does hold a very special place in my heart.
Same. I'm with you guys. I could flip-flop depending on the day, but I'll go with guac. Pistachio ice cream or a mint chocolate chip ice cream?
I've already expressed my disdain for mint, especially in a context where it's being combined with chocolate. That shit is so fucked up. So I'll say pistachio. I love a pistachio. You know, like the ice cream flavors that are like for the dads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very much like if your dad isn't ordering like, I feel like rum raisin is maybe more grandpa and like also butter pecan, but like pistachio,
Maple walnut.
yeah, maple walnut, definitely in the dad flavor genre of ice cream.
My parents used to get frozen pudding ice cream. All I remember is it had raisins in it. It was
Disgusting.
nasty. Yeah.
As someone who worked at an ice cream spot for like 4 years, I've got very strong opinions on ice cream flavors. And as good as and as classic as mint chocolate chip is, pistachio is really an underdog, honestly. I think that shit slaps. And it took me like a minute to like actually try it and be like, oh god, this is really good. So I'm gonna say pistachio.
Same. I'll go with pistachio for the sweet. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is Kermit the Frog or Mike Wazowski.
Kermit,
Yeah.
Kermit. If the option is a puppet and not a puppet, I'm picking the option that's a puppet.
Yeah. No, Kermit, 110%.
I was going to go with Mike Wazowski because when Boo goes, Mike Wazowski. All right. Next one, Mountain Dew or an iced matcha tea from Dunkin' Donuts.
Ooh, from Dunk
Specifically from Dunkin',
specifically.
Jen.
Super green.
I don't know if I've ever... I don't drink either of those two. I can't remember the last time I had either of those, like, in years and years of my life. But I guess I'll go with Mountain Dew, because, like, maybe you can put that in a cocktail. I don't know. Matcha is very... I'm like, I get it. I get that it's for the girls, like, the girls who like matcha. It's just, you're a different breed. It couldn't be me. It just kind of tastes like dirt to me. But...
Yeah, I actually really like matcha. I'm definitely the person that, like, needs it sweetened, though, like, in a latte. I haven't had the Dunk latte, and Dunk's is very, very hit or miss. It's either, like, you have the best drink you've ever had in your life, or it's just awful. So I could definitely see them fucking up a latte, and not in a good way. However, I don't really drink soda at all, ever, so I'll stick with matcha.
Congrats! You get a medal. You're better than the rest of us.
Yeah, I know, I am. But no, I'll stick with matcha.
I'm with you. I'm going to stick with matcha. I like it. I don't mind it. I wouldn't drink it all the time,
Yeah.
but I don't mind it. All right, last one. Yoda or Grogu?
Yoda's the OG. Yoda's the OG. You know, like, Grogu's great, but it was just really, like, I'm not gonna say it was a fad, because that show was great, and Grogu's impact, it was just like, it's just because he's cute, whereas Yoda earned his respect.
That's a really, yeah, that's an incredibly valid argument to make. Grogu is super charming, but Yoda's a badass. You've seen him do those little flips.
Yeah, Grogu is like in a fucking Toyota, like a floating little
can't do
Toyota
anything for
fucking
himself.
sedan. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'll stick with Yoda.
Yeah, same. I was going to go with Baby Yoda, but Dara made me convinced that I should go with the OG. So Yoda it is.
Wow, I should be a politician.
I know. That was it.
Well, thank you.
Outstanding.
Now you've got me
Thank
thinking
you.
about pistachio ice cream and the green M&M and Mountain Dew. But thank you for toasting us for our 1 year, and thank you for
Congrats.
showing up every
I was
week
gonna say, thanks for
and
being
hosting
here.
this segment. You do more work than
you.
we do, to be honest.
That's not true.
So, thank.
Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you. Have an awesome week. Bye. Bye.
But so, are you familiar with Shrek the Musical?
I'm familiar. I mostly know it through You and Our Circle of Friends in high school. I've never actually listened to it at all.
It's available on Netflix if you'd like to watch it.
Maybe.
So anyone out there who even has a bone in their body that doesn't hate musical theater. Like, there are some people who adamantly hate musical theater, and, like, I get it. It's not for everyone. It's a specific taste. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't necessarily call myself, like, a musical theater person, but I do like to consume it. Like, I would choose to, like, go see a play or a musical or something. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not one of the kind of people who hates it, but I'm not, like, I wasn't a musical theater kid. Like, I, like, opening night of Dear Evan Hansen, like, couldn't be me. But available on Netflix is the recorded version of Broadway of Shrek the Musical, and it is one of the most brilliant fucking adaptations of anything ever. The songs slap. They get into the lore of how Shrek has parents and how they had to cast him out of the swamp when he was 7 because that's ogre tradition. And you learn about why Shrek is so jaded and why he is the way he is, sort of. And so we get, like, the foundations. I would say at least just I think it's a little over 2 hours, so it's a little long because it's a Broadway musical. But at least just watch through the first the first half or whatever, because the song that they end on is the one that we would always sing in high school that you probably know. And in my opinion, all the best songs are in the first half anyways. So good. Like, it's just so good. So it's on Netflix. For the millionth time, I'm going to say anyone who hasn't seen Shrek the Musical, make a night of it because it fucking slaps so hard. I would say I listen to the Shrek soundtrack a fair amount, but I listen to the Shrek the Musical sound, like, it is on my playlist. It is in my rotation.
Would you say you listen to it more than the soundtrack?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
I do. If I have, like, a long car ride, I just, like, blast through the first half of Shrek the Musical. That's, like, a good hour.
Yeah, weirdly, I had no interest in ever listening to it. I'm not sure. I think maybe it's because it felt like oversaturation of Shrek for me, because we did live through that era where Shrek was everywhere. But now that it's calmed down, I might have to visit it.
Yeah. And it does do a little, it's not just, like, a musicalification of the film. Like, it does give a little more.
Which is what I was
It's very privy
confused about.
to Heathers to me. Like, the way that Heathers did the, like, movie to musical, but, like, we're gonna add a little, like, more layers because it's, that type of thing. I would argue that it is of the same vein. And also I think it won a bunch of Tonys. It's, like, very renowned as being, like, an amazing musical. It's kind of in that way that, like, the SpongeBob musical, I think people, like,
popped off.
What the fuck, SpongeBob the musical? Yeah, popped off, like really successful. So anyways, that was my little rant about Shrek.
No, it's good to know.
Really good stuff.
I have a question. Do you think that moment, specifically in the film, hard pivot, that moment where Shrek beat up all those knights, in, like, the whole big, what was it called? Duel, joust, whatever, tournament. It was a tournament. Do you feel like that was super validating for him?
Yes. I thought you were going to ask if it permanently altered my brain chemistry.
Well,
and
that too.
The answer is yes. Because
I know, you were talking about all the beer coming out of the fucking spigot. I could tell when you said that. I was
like
this
why I
did a
have
lot for her.
pica. Yeah, it's, like, why I have, like, texture problems. It's, like, literally because of this film. No, but while we were watching it, because I watched it with Henry, and I was saying that, like, I think that this was 2001, and I'm gonna say that maybe I didn't actually, like, watch it in a way that it registered in my brain. Maybe I'm gonna say, like, 2005. Like, I'm gonna say I'm, like, 6, right? Because you're, like, the age where you can, like, remember things. Like, this is 2001. I was 3 years old. Like, that doesn't count. Yeah. But I think very early on in my life, this was the first film that I, like, read, like, it registered to me that the music that was playing and what was happening on the screen was, like, a conscious choice that somebody made because this was elevated. To me, I was like, oh, this is it. And it was that scene with the fighting and the beer and all of that. Because I was like, oh, it was that specifically. And then, did you ever watch the movie Spirit about the horse?
I definitely did, but I have zero recollection of it.
There's also, like, one scene in Spirit when he, like, fights a bunch of other horses or something, where there's also a song playing that is, like, those two scenes from those two movies live in a very specific space in my mind that I'm, like, as a child, it registered to me that it's, like, this is cinema. This is cinema.
Probably unshockingly to anyone, one of the movies that was that for me, or probably two of the movies, just because it was the same man, was the Brother Bear soundtrack and the Tarzan soundtrack.
Phil motherfucking Collins put his whole pussy into those. Yeah, Brother Bear for sure. But those also, like, fit so seamlessly and beautifully that, like, this was, like, a little clunky, and I think that's why it, like, stood out to me, because it was also a song that I'm sure I had heard it, like, it was very popular during this time. It was on the radio. All of the songs in this movie are, like, exist outside of this film as well.
I was gonna say, were there any of these songs written specifically for the movie? Because I don't
think so.
Okay.
I know they re-recorded Hallelujah for this film, and it fucking took me aback, because I've definitely listened to the Shrek soundtrack more frequently than I've watched Shrek the movie, and so the version that's on the CD or the Spotify, like, literally, if you Google Shrek the soundtrack, the version of Hallelujah that's on there is sung by a different fucking person than the one they use in the movie, and it rocked me to my core. So I think, I'm not good at Rufus Winthrite or whatever his name is. This song is I don't even know who the song is originally by. It's been covered by so many people. Leonard Cohen. I don't know if he's the original. Jeff Buckley.
No
Maybe it's either Jeff Buckley or Leonard Cohen. But the Rufus Winthrite version is the one that everyone knows and attributes to being in Shrek, and that's the one that's on the soundtrack. But then when it actually happens in the movie, it is a different recording. It's a different guy. It's a different person singing. And that really threw me for a loop, because I was like, this is not what is downloaded to my Spotify. It really, really shook me. And I Googled it, and I was like, are they the same? And they are not. That really ruined me. But to go back to your original question, yes, I do think beating the shit out of all of those knights was really validating for Shrek, because it seems like he's always, like, 90% there. Like, he walks up to the evil mob and he, like, just screams at them and then they all run away, but he doesn't ever actually get to, like, fuck some shit up, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure he has a lot of pent up, especially the way people, like, talk to him.
Yeah.
I'd want to hit some people too.
Yeah. And also, like, you're standing there with a ginormous crowd cheering you on. They're like, yes, we want the ogre. It's probably the first time in his life that he's felt, like,
appreciated, loved.
Yeah, until Fiona comes along.
The scene also where she sings to that bird and it explodes.
That's one that is burned into my brain as a child. I did not fuck with that scene as a kid. That was a hard no.
That, the bird exploding, and then also when they blow...
The balloon animals?
The balloon animals?
Yep.
Those, like, specific, again, like, the textures of the toad that they blow up into the balloon, like, I can feel it in my brain. I can feel, like,
See, one of the things for me that always stuck out in that way was the blue flower with red thorns that Donkey goes and finds, which I also thought was just hysterical as a kid.
Right, and it's like, it makes no
Even still,
sense.
I'm like, this is good. This is content.
I also really forgot about the Robin Hood musical number
really?
that happens. That just doesn't stick. Maybe because it's not, like, reproduced through meme culture as much as other parts of Shrek are. Just to me, because I was watching this and I was like, oh, like, I kind of forgot about this. But I was like, this is a lot. It's like a 10-minute segment of this 90-minute film dedicated to, like, this sort of altercation and this musical number.
Yeah, no. My favorite part of that is the fact that, Vincent Castle is the one that voices Robin Hood in that.
Who is that?
He's the guy from... Oh, I'm gonna butcher it and I'm gonna sound so fake. Lahane or Hine, I don't know how to say it. I'm not fucking French. But it's just a fucking classic piece of cinema. But he's also in, like, Black Swan. He's like...
Oh.
Yeah. Brilliant actor and just... He's in, like, a lot of good movies, and that's Shrek.
That's like also the maybe a little less so, but the actor who voices Lord Farquaad is like Winston Churchill from The Crown.
Yeah, no, it's fucking what's his name?
Oh, I don't know. I recognized him. I'm like, oh, that's the grandpa from Interstellar, and then I look him up, and he has like, you know, he's won several Emmys and awards for like other shit. But I'm like, yeah, you were the grandpa from Interstellar. But he's in a lot of he's also very famous.
I will say, as iconic as Mike Myers was in this, Eddie Murphy is the guy that sticks out.
Eddie Murphy practiced this. He was like, I'm gonna go do Mulan, and I'm really gonna hone my craft as a voice actor. And he did Mushu and Mulan, which is great, but this is where he hits it. Eddie Murphy hits in this movie, and I do want to address that he killed somebody. So Eddie Murphy is super problematic. If you look into like pretty recently, it was like kind of unveiled, but obviously then swept under the rug because he's a big Hollywood figure. He has been caught throughout his career a lot of times with sex workers, and it hasn't, you know, always shed the best light on him, and he's always worked to sweep that under the rug. But he did put out a hit on a trans sex worker, and her death is on his hands. So Eddie Murphy, he didn't kill her himself, but he paid somebody to have her killed. So if you want to look into that, it's a pretty wild story, and like really sad. And people I think it was really coming to light when he was getting a lot of Oscar buzz for Dolomite Is My Name, and everyone was like, yeah, we never talk about how Eddie Murphy literally killed somebody. And I was like, huh? And so I looked into it. So yeah, go out there and anyone who wants to read more, yeah. But that's always like, it's like when it like puts a sour taste in your mouth, right? It's like,
yeah.
So it's like, oh, Donkey's so funny, but also like Eddie Murphy, real questionable. But I will also say Shrek the Musical, the guy who plays Donkey in Shrek the Musical, brilliant. So really? That's my Donkey, but it is obviously very much informed by Eddie Murphy's performance here, which is undeniably very good.
Where are you
sorry to drop that bomb. Sorry to be like, yeah, Shrek is great, but also let's talk about the crimes. The crimes that have been, the blood that has been shed.
Fair enough. I one thing I do like about our podcast is that I feel like we know that we're not the best source of information, but we will give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm like, oh, go read about it somewhere else, because, like, maybe take everything I say with a little bit of a grain of salt, but that is a thing, that is a fact that I know about.
But where are you at? Because we could get into our
regularly scheduled program. Yes. Yeah. So are we gonna do Fuck, Marry, Kill with Shrek, Donkey, Fiona?
Yes.
Because we're both gonna kill Donkey. We're not gonna fuck, or either of us gonna fuck or marry Donkey. Because I think it's gonna be fuck.
Here's my thing.
Fiona, you marry Shrek, you kill Donkey.
No, I'm gonna marry Donkey. I'm gonna kill Shrek.
Oh, interesting. Like, we don't have you're just talking about how that cottage life was just like it for you, and you're just gonna throw this man to the wayside. What does Donkey have? Nothing.
No, I think I'm gonna kill Shrek, and I'm gonna take his cottage. I'm gonna kill him for his cottage, and Donkey and I are gonna live there beautifully and happily and peacefully. Also, if I'm gonna fuck Donkey, I'm gonna put myself in the context of this film. I'm a character in this film. If Donkey can fuck, I don't know what am I, a fairy? Something? Whatever? Whatever.
See, I have to kill Donkey because I also never shut the fuck up. And so it would just be too much.
See, I need that.
Too much. I need a listener, not a...
See, I am the listener.
Yeah. This is your Shrek, and I'm Donkey in this relationship.
And that's why this podcast is the way it is.
Oh no, am I Donkey? Oh.
No. I feel like that's my thing about Donkey is that like he's gonna allow me to open up, and I can chat. And I will chat. And that's what I've done here.
And he says, in the morning I'm making waffles, even though this man does not have thumbs. How is he good? He's going to put in the effort. He's going to put in the effort.
Maybe they'll be shit, but hey, guess what? I'll still eat them.
And do you want to be in the throuple? Like, you want the dragon there as well? Because I think
wouldn't
that's part of the
mind.
package deal. Like, for me, that's why I would
Yeah.
pick donkeys, so I can get in on that situation. Once the kids come into the picture, maybe not so much, but...
Yeah, maybe that'll be my, like, hard thing. My hard line for the relationship is we're not having kids.
Or it's like you're in the throuple, and, like, they can have kids, but you don't want any part of it.
No, but
You're like-
I'm gonna get roped in no matter what, like, if I'm there. So no. I'm not gonna let those little abominations be brought into the world.
Those were not created in God's image. That is a scientifically proof that God does not exist.
I'm introducing them both to contraception. There's not gonna be... We're not gonna have that problem.
And then from the whole movie, I'm gonna fuck Thelonious.
Stop! I was gonna fuck Melania.
That's the only reason I know his name is because Lord Farquaad said it, and I wrote Thelonious fuck on my sheet. Just something.
The bag on the
something.
head stays on during sex.
Yes, there's something about that. I think I'm gonna marry. I think I'll marry Fiona. She deserves just like to be loved, and also her parents have money, as we know from the second film, so like we'll be set basically. I'm not worried about it too much. And I don't really care if she's a human or an ogre, you know, either way, girl, do your thing. Maybe she can keep the transformative lifestyle so I can get the best of both worlds, you know?
Yeah.
Lady by day, ogre by night. I can get down with that. And then I'm gonna kill Lord Farquaad. Duh. Fuck him.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I'm gonna fucking kill Shrek. Like, besides being the protagonist of this movie, he does nothing for me.
He's an anti-hero. You're not supposed to like him.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, man. We wouldn't get along in the slightest. Because I'm really sensitive, and I'd get my feelings hurt immediately if he said 2 mean things to me. And so I just can't fuck with that, so I'm gonna kill him.
Honestly, that's fair. That's fair. And plus, you made a good argument about, like, you can have the cottage.
Yeah.
A little summer home. A nice little...
exactly.
A timeshare.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kill Shrek. I was gonna say that I was gonna fuck Thelonious, but I'm thinking I'm gonna fuck Robin Hood. Because
Those
he
tights.
just seems really fun.
That's gonna be a romp. That's gonna be
gonna
a
say.
time and a half.
His merry men are not invited, though. That's...
Oh, really?
What is it, like 7 of them?
For the opening musical number, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay.
After the sex, I'm expecting a show. Like...
Fuck spooning after sex. Give me an entire dance number.
If I'm not swept off my feet, if I'm not being twirled through the air, forget about it.
The only one that can stay is the guy with the accordion. He can stay. His little bowl cut thing. But yeah, kill Shrek, fuck Robin Hood. I think I'm gonna marry. I think I'll side with you. I'll marry Fiona.
Right, she deserves.
Yeah.
Also, she's just like been in that tower. Like, I
She's
feel like
like-
we could do some fun shit together. Like,
You can like show her like what different things are because she's like probably never eaten like sushi before.
right?
You know
But
what I
also the
mean?
way she fries those eggs, girl. If she can make me fried eggs like that every morning, that's
Yeah.
all I need in a partner is somebody who
Uh-huh.
can just cook me eggs.
Yeah, no. I like Fiona because she's nice, but she's mean when she needs to be. Like, I realized that's the only way she got anything she wanted in this movie was just by yelling. I was
Right?
like, I
That's
like that for you.
That's like those memes that are like, he said no ketchup on his burger or whatever. Like, that's she's gonna speak up for me at the restaurant when they get my food
Yeah.
wrong because I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I definitely need that.
Speaking...
And again, we know from the second movie that there's, like, more layers to be had here.
Exactly.
With our girl.
But speaking of her telling the waitstaff what you want, what would you eat and drink with this movie? Because immediately my mind went to, like, dirt cups. The same way that you said sand with our Star Wars episode. Those little dirt pudding cups with worms.
I feel like I was very much on the same line of thinking, because I said you should make mudslides for your drink.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because like mud themed, and none of the there's like beer, and that doesn't really hit with me. And then he also drinks like an eyeball martini, and that also is just not doing it for me.
Yeah,
but I'm
you
like,
could do
that
like an
mud,
appletini.
The texture of that mud, like I want it. So I
Just
want to be
scratches your brain.
drinking. Yeah, I want to be drinking like a thick chocolate alcohol-based drink during this movie.
See, for the drink that I found, I did a little research. I have not had this. It sounds pretty good, but it's called swamp water.
Bog water.
It's like all booze, which is good for this movie. And just fits the bill. And I saw a couple of different variations of it while I was looking it up. But basically, the baseline ingredients you need is like sweet and sour, Midori, tequila, blue curacao, and like some lemon lime soda or seltzer or something like that.
That sounds like a less good version of a Long Island.
Exactly.
Basically.
But it's green.
Yeah, Midori kind of, like, I always like it as a concept, and then I drink it, and I'm like, icky.
Oh, I love it.
I think it's because we made those drinks that one time, and that's just, like, seared into my brain.
Grapefruit. Yeah, no, it was...
The Shady Ladies.
It was
seared
foul.
Midori in my brain.
Uh-huh. Absolutely foul.
That sounds pretty fire, though. I love anything that's, like, mostly booze and then a little bit of sweet and sour mix, and then...
Exactly. I know, like... I don't know
juice.
I don't know if you follow this guy, but I always see him on my For You page and stuff. The Tipsy Bartender.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a decent looking recipe, but also his recipes kind of scare me sometimes.
Right. I feel like maybe, isn't there something about, like, whiskey or, like, bourbon where it's, like, aged in barrels?
Yeah.
Like, everyone always says it tastes like a bog, right? Everyone's like, this has a boggy notes or something. I don't really know if that's a thing or not. But if you drink bourbon that has like notes of swamp, like notes of bog.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Maybe that can work for you, I guess.
Maybe that should be... I saw something recently about people making their own liquor brand, and I was like, fuck putting out a cookbook or anything like that, or recipe book.
Right.
We'll just make our own fucking liquor.
I know. Also, this would be a great place to plug our merch. We have merch. Also, I wanted to apologize. We used to do giveaways on this show. We don't do them anymore, and that's because I used to. I ran out of stuff. Yeah, I used to hand make all of the stuff we sold, which was very cute, but also time consuming. And now we actually have like stuff that's good quality and not made in my basement by me. But so I would give out free stuff if I could, but I can't anymore. But we do have merch, and the link is in the description below, and we have a lot of great varieties, posters, stickers, sweatshirts, lots of really cute stuff. So although we do not have, what liquor would we do? What's you and I's like what liquor would we make it? Or would it be like a pre-mixed cocktail? Would it be like something trashy? Is it gonna come in a plastic bottle?
I mean, I don't know, because I know you're a vodka person, correct?
I like vodka and rum are my two clear liquors of
that's
choice.
True. You're very much a rum girl. I like tequila for sure.
See, and I can't.
We'll brainstorm. We'll let you guys know.
Well, it's gonna be all the clear liquors mixed together, and it's just something new. It's gin, tequila, rum, and vodka, all of it, and it's a new. She's new. She's new and she's exciting. And she's hot on the market.
Yeah, we're launching a brand new liquor, so get ready.
We're inventing a new substance.
It's actually just
and I want it to be the texture. I want it to be the fucking thick texture of the beer from Shrek. I want it to be a little gelatinous in your mouth. I want it to kind of, you have to, you don't quite have to chew it, but it feels thick.
It's just moonshine that I make in my backyard. Maybe that's what I do this year, is learn how to make moonshine. That'll be our the next time we do a giveaway is my first batch of moonshine.
Meanwhile, I'm like pretty sure most of the people who listen to this are not of age. And you can you mail liquor? Probably not.
I think so.
Is it perishable? No. Anyways,
but did you have anything you wanted to eat?
Oh, I just said kebabs.
Just a feeling,
like, I don't know. I think there's just one scene where they're like eating rats on a stick.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of like, I don't know, if you could just like eat some meat on a stick, that could kind of feel.
See, I think what would be good is if you did swamp water with kebabs, or you do mudslides with mud cups. I feel like that's
yeah.
We got to crisscross and switch them around.
That makes total sense. And then to follow it up, I had three distinct. Well, Shrek 2.
That's the only thing that's literally the only thing I can ever recommend here, is because as good as this movie is, and it's always hard to find like a follow up movie or a sequel that's better than the first one, but this is definitively better than the first movie. Yeah,
which is crazy. That never happens.
How do they do it? I don't know, but it's a masterpiece.
Shrek 1, the greatest film ever made. Shrek 2, somehow the greatest film ever made. Shrek 3, dog shit. Shrek 4, dog shit.
I never saw the other two, so
they're bad. They're not good. Shrek 1 and 2, literally, it's like High School Musical. How did they do it? How did they top the first one? But they just did it.
Yeah.
But my only other thoughts, so like obviously I plugged the shit out of Shrek the Musical earlier. Shrek 2 is just like the obvious follow-up, but the two other thoughts I had was, do you know that movie Hoodwinked? I think I texted you about this a little while ago.
Yes, you did.
Hoodwinked has that same, like, early 2000s crunchy, 3D, unrendered animation that, like, the textures of it seared into my brain as a kid. And Hoodwinked is nowhere near as good as Shrek, but, like, if you're on, like, a visual texture kick, definitely revisiting Hoodwinked is like, oh, this is crunchy in a way that's, like, making my eyeballs tingle. So there's Hoodwinked, because it's also, like, from that kind of same, I don't know, nostalgic period of my life. But then what I actually did in real life was, this made me, like, nostalgic for kind of that era of Disney movies that I really liked. And I watched Treasure Planet. Because I've been thinking a lot lately about, like, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, and then also, like, Road to El Dorado, Prince of Egypt, like, that kind of era of, like, somewhat underrated. Everyone says they're underrated, but, like, everyone loves them, so I wouldn't say it's actually underrated, but I watched Treasure Planet after, because I was like, I'm on, like, a kid's movie, like, kind of night, and it was nice. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I, like, didn't really recall too much of the plot, but I remember, like, liking it as a kid, and it was just a nice time. But yeah, you have to watch Shrek 2. It's like, there's a right answer, and that's Shrek 2, yeah.
And what would you rate this? I'm gonna give it an 8.
Oh, I was gonna say a 10.
Really?
This movie's a 10.
I don't know. Like, as much as I love this movie, I think it's partially because I know I need to leave room for Shrek 2.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we've never broken the barrier. We've never given anything higher than a 10 before, but like Shrek 2 might be like an 11.
I'll bump it up to, like, honestly, like a 9.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's so iconic for a reason. But I do agree that it can get kind of tiresome with the oversaturation of Shrek content on the market.
Which is why I think I said
it can be
like,
a little much.
Yeah,
it can be a little much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you to everyone who was listening. This was our celebratory Shrek episode. We finally got around to doing it because it's our Swampiversary. And thank you again to everyone who listened. And also all the links to all of our information is in the Bible. If this is your first time listening, if you're a first time Swamp listener, oh my god, that's crazy. Welcome. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that stuff. Buy a sweatshirt. Just, like, really go for it. Balls to the wall. You're a fan now. invite me to your living room and we can watch a movie together. So somebody joked about us having live shows, and I'm like, bestie, you're just gonna have to invite me to your living room. Like,
I'll come.
I was like, live show, like, yeah, like, there are not gonna be any ticket sales. There's not going to be a venue. It's just gonna be like, we'll show up to your house.
Yeah, we'll bring the drinks
upon request.
Yeah. You let me know what you want at the liquor store, and I'll come with it.
Right. We'll bring the snacks. We'll actually pay you.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's to many more episodes this upcoming month. We definitely have some really good movies. I'm pretty freaking excited. And we also have a special guest next week, who's not a person directly related to either of us. So that's exciting. We've been networking with real internet people. But yeah, a lot of fun movies coming up. And also just, I look forward to what the future holds for this little pod we have. Oh my God. And this podcast is like an onion because it tastes really good when you saute it in butter. 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 Saute it